Alright, I'm really excited about today's tutorial video because we're going to be talking about custom brushes. Now hopefully you've already watched my video on how to make custom stripes, and if you're comfortable with making pant stripes, shoulder stripes, helmet stripes in the way I showed you in my previous video, then this is sort of the next level. By turning our stripes into custom brushes, it's going to help us save time, especially if we're doing the same team very often. This is going to help you save time, build yourself a little library. So let's get started. I used layers on this particular file. I have on layer 3, I'd already brought in my leg stripes that I'm using for reference. I'm going to click on here to lock these down like so. Okay, and then go back to this top layer. So that's the one I'm going to be working on. So in the earlier video on stripes, I showed you just using the pen tool, we draw our stripe shape right over the pant leg, like so, and then over here. And this is very much sort of like, a two-step process. Make the outer stripe first, okay, then copy and paste in place or paste in front, change the color, and change the weight of the stroke to bring it down a little bit, and now we have a green and a white stripe here. Okay, pretty cool. All right, but I want to show you how to turn this into a brush. So the easiest way to do that is with the rectangle tool. We're going to start with our green color here, and we're going to just draw a little box here. That should be my fill color, not my stroke, so I'll hit this button and flip. Very good. Then I'm going to copy, paste in place, bring this in, and change that color to white. Okay? Alright, this just looks like a portion of my stripe here, right? So what I'm going to do with this stripe here is I'm going to select it. I'm going to open up my brushes palette. And from the options menu of the brush palette, I'm going to select new brush. I'm going to choose art brush, hit OK. And as you can see, we've got a little mini representation of the object we created. Now you see we got this arrow which is pointing down. Now this is the direction your brush is going. Now we don't want our brush to go down. We want it to go from left to right. This is the direction that the brush goes. I think it defaulted to down because if you noticed earlier, I rotated my brush, or excuse me, I rotated my object, and I think it still thought it was going up and down. But based on how it is in here, I want this going left to right, okay? I can give it a name, green stripe, and hit OK. Now it went and it added green stripe to my brush palette. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and delete the two that I've already created. Now I click on the default here, white fill, black stroke. I just want to get a stroke here so when I draw I have something I can see. And black is fine right now. I'm just going to quickly draw those two shapes again. Oh, that was really sloppy. Slow down. Okay, so we've got our stripes here. Clean it up a little bit. And now I can just select both of these stripes, go over to my brush palette and select green stripe, the brush we created earlier, and it automatically applies that brush style to my stroke. Okay, whether maybe it's a straight line like so. Hit my brush, boom, I got a helmet stripe, okay? Or I go and arc that, and there's a shoulder stripe. So if we're doing a bunch of players from the same team, it's probably worth your while to mock up your stripe as a object, turn it into a brush, and then all you gotta do is sort of draw your line, your path once, and then apply that brush to it, and you're done. So let's do something a little bit more complicated though than a simple stripe like that. So on this other layer I have hidden down here, we have the Vikings. So I'm going to lock this down, and I'm going to zoom in on these pan stripes. Now, Vikings are a little bit more complicated because we have a different stripe for the left leg than we do the right leg. But I am going to start with the shape tool, and I'll start with the purple here. Now I'm going to use my eyedrop tool to select that purple, and now I've got something close to the Vikings purple. Yep, this seems a little bit darker. I might want to go back in there and kind of play with that, or maybe I'm going to take a purple from my just from my swatch palette. I will do a copy and a paste in place. I will pick a yellow. We'll see what happens when we sample from there. There, that's not bad. And then I'm not going to hold down Alt because it's not evenly coming in from either side. We got more purple on that side. So there we go. We've got a stripe for the one side, okay, the left leg. Now we need to make the stripe for the right leg. Now there's two ways that we can mirror this, okay, because this one's pretty simple. We could just grab them both, copy and paste, and then grab at the corner so that the arrows kind of turn like that, and turn them around like this and loop. Okay, that's one way to duplicate that shape and sort of flip it. Or I can copy this again. Now another way to copy, other than just doing sort of like your copy paste command, is you can hold down Alt or Option when you have your object selected. You notice how I get a little double arrow. Okay, now if I continue to hold down Alt Option and I drag, try that again, drag over, I drag a copy. Now there is up under Object and Transform, there is a Reflect tool where you can flip it vertically or horizontally. I will choose a vertical flip, and you can have the preview button here just in case you're not sure, how it's going to behave. But we want the vertical and hit OK. Okay, so two ways to flip those over. So we've got our two stripes. So I'm going to select this first object, go into my brushes, and new brush, art brush. Okay, now see, it's defaulting to this left to right here, but the way this brush or this stripe travels is up and down. So I'm going to choose down here, and I will name this Vikings left leg and hit OK. And now we've got it right there. I'm going to go ahead and select my second one, and new brush, and art brush, and Vikings right leg. Do the same thing. I need to change that to down, and I hit OK. So I got the left leg and the right leg. So if I go back up to my base figure up here, I'm going to click on the default colors there, get rid of the fill, and I'm going to draw my stripes again. And again over here. Good. Now I'll select this one. This is the left leg, so I'll click my brush stripe for the left leg. And there we go. Maybe I make that a little thicker, like 1.5. Maybe that's too much. 1.25, how about? There we go. Select my stroke over here. Now this is the right leg, and we'll change that to 1.25. And boom, now we've got we've got our stripes. This type of stripe is a little bit easier to do with a brush than it is with our traditional method of draw the outer stripe, copy and paste over, and then decrease that stroke width, because this yellow stripe that's in here is not right down the middle. Okay, it's off center, so it'd be nearly impossible with our other method without a lot of fooling around. So I think this method is much cleaner, much easier to do. Now, one thing to know about these stripes here is this is one object. Okay, this is not two objects. This is not a yellow stripe over a purple stripe. This is a single stripe, and actually Illustrator thinks it's a black stripe, okay? But we've applied the attributes of this brush over this black stripe. So if I am not happy with how this purple looks, or I'm not happy with how this yellow looks, there's two ways to fix that, okay? One is to start over, recreate your brush from scratch with the colors correct. The second way would be to select your stripe, go up to Object, and expand Appearance. And that takes all the elements of that brush piece and breaks them down into separate objects. So now, see, I click on my purple, I got my purple fill. If I click on the yellow, I've got a yellow fill. So if I need to tweak this purple, now I can go ahead and go in here and make some adjustments. Maybe I make that darker, okay? But now this is an object, okay? I've lost the ability. See, now this one is still my my brush, and it's still just a line. So I can pull these points and make adjustments here, okay? I can't change the angle of this anymore, okay, without a lot of work, because now this is no longer a line, it is a yellow object over a purple object, okay? And so just a little on how it's behaving now in Illustrator after we've made those changes. Okay, so you notice that now after you've made your brushes, you know, obviously they show up in here. Now, you could build up an entire brush library, and that's something that I have done. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of these. I'm going to hide the Vikings down there. Okay, I'm going to quickly redraw those stripes again. I'm going to go into my brush library, I'm going to click on the options, and I'm going to choose Open Brush Library. And now I've got my NFL brush library kind of already preloaded. Otherwise I would have to hit Other Library and then navigate to where my brush file is saved. But I'm going to click on my NFL brush library here and pull that up. It should just show you what a built-out library could look like. I've got nearly all the teams going back several years. Their helmet stripes, shoulder stripes, pants stripes, sock stripes. Now I'm about 2 years behind. I haven't updated for some of the more modern jerseys, and I do not have a custom pant stripe brush for the Seattle Seahawks. There are some limitations with turning stripes into brush. The more complex the shape, Illustrator cannot render that as a brush. Or sometimes it can, but then when you try to do a bend like this, it really doesn't know how to behave. So there are some limitations. So if you're trying to do something with like the Seattle Seahawks, you basically make a brush without the feathers down the middle, and then you go back in and you manually copy paste those feathers down that middle stripe. But when you have a brush library built out like this, you can just go ahead and make your stripes real simple like this. Hop in. I got Bears blue pants stripe. Okay, increase the width there. 49ers. And I can just go here and click right through my brush library and quickly change on the fly what I need that pants stripe to be. With very minimal effort. Okay. Let's see, and like I said, those are some examples of pants stripes. Let's find some helmet stripes in here. So you can do real simple helmet stripes. Here's a Falcons throwback helmet. Okay. But we can do more complex ones too, like the Broncos. And I need to make that a little bit bigger. See right there? That's all just by, you just create a shape that looks like that and then save it as an art brush. And now you can just apply it on any sort of line you've created. Let's see, what about the Panthers helmet stripe? So I've got an entire library going back years, making decals much quicker. Don't forget to like the video and leave a comment if you like what you see. Also, let me know what other types of videos you'd like to see me make. I'd be happy to do them. Thanks.